Ukraine and Syria pledged greater security cooperation in Damascus on Sunday. US President Donald Trump has once again escalated threats against Iran as Washington's deadline for Tehran approaches. Trump has threatened further strikes on Iranian power plants and other critical infrastructure if Iran fails to reopen the Strait of Hormuz before Tuesday night.
The entire country can be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night.
Trump detailed the rescue of one of the two U.S. military pilots shot down by Iranian forces. He described a large-scale operation involving 155 aircraft, as well as efforts to mislead Iranian forces about the search location.
He scaled cliff faces, bleeding rather profusely, treated his own wounds, and contacted American forces to transmit his location.
Earlier on Monday, Iran has rejected a proposed 45-day ceasefire and called instead for a permanent end to the war. Meanwhile, fighting continues across the region. Israel and the United States carried out new strikes on Iran that reportedly killed more than 25 people. New figures suggest that more than 5,200 people have been killed across the Middle East since the war began on the 28th of February. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis asked the European Public Prosecutor's Office to launch without delay proceedings against lawmakers suspected of involvement in an alleged fraud related to EU agricultural subsidies. Mitsotakis requested the lifting of immunity of the 11 MPs who are under investigation.
Με δεδομένο ότι ο δυτικός νομικός πολιτισμός έχει δώσει αγώνες για να κατευθυνθεί το τεκμήριο της αθωότητας, τονίζω ότι θα κάνω ό,τι περνά από το χέρι μου για να το υπερασπιστώ. Γι' αυτό και ζητώ από την Ευρωπαϊκή Εισαγγελία, μετά την άρση της ασυλίας των βουλευτών μας, να προχωρήσει ταχύτατα σε όλες τις ανακριτικές ενέργειες και να αποφανθεί αν, σε πόσους και σε ποιους προτίθεται να ασκήσει διώξεις.
The Greek Prime Minister proposed to make the roles of Minister and Member of Parliament incompatible after the 2027 elections. He suggested MPs would be replaced by the first runner-up for as long as they participate in the Council of Ministers, alongside an enhancement of the role of MP. In Spain, the coalition government led by Pedro Sánchez has developed a plan to phase out nuclear power plants in favor of a transition towards clean energy. However, the blackout the country suffered last April 2025 has reopened the debate on whether nuclear energy remains essential. Euronews has spoken with the head of the EU mission that visited the Almaraz nuclear power plant in February to assess its condition. He was concerned about the economic implications of a potential plant closure for the rural Extremadura region, such as rising unemployment and companies' relocations.
5 GDP come from to Almaraz power plant, and the municipal budget is based on nuclear power plant in this region.
According to him, Spain's nuclear power phase-out would increase its dependency on energy imports from neighboring countries such as France and Morocco. While European companies are facing Donald Trump's tariffs and Chinese competition, they need cheap energy to remain competitive, the MEP said.
We should have the cheapest energy in European Union, and if we have a very, very expensive energy system, that a lot of company moved our company to China, to USA, to others places.
The EU itself has advocated for extending the lifespan of nuclear power plants to strengthen its energy independence. Ukraine and Syria pledged greater security cooperation in Damascus on Sunday as Kyiv pushes to deepen security ties across the Middle East. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's meeting with Syrian interim President Ahmad al-Shara marked Zelensky's first trip to Syria since dictator Bashar al-Assad's fall in 2024. Zelensky wrote on X they discussed the war in the Middle East and Ukraine and that there is a strong interest in exchanging military and security experience between their two countries. Syria's al-Shara said the two leaders focused on ways to strengthen economic cooperation and exchange expertise. The visit follows Zelensky's trip to Turkey and several Gulf countries last week against the backdrop of the Iran war, as he sought to clinch security deals and exchange Ukrainian drone expertise for air defense missiles.
Helmets on, the cross of Christ in hand, hundreds of motorcyclists gathered, and everything is ready for the traditional Easter procession of bikers. Nearly 20 years ago, Father Avelino Alves combined his faith with his passion for motorcycles and began a new ritual. The mission is to carry the cross through the communities to mark the resurrection of Christ.
Como dizia o Papa Francisco, às periferias, ir à periferia, a dizer a esta gente num mundo indiferente, dizer que ainda há Cristo, ainda há gente diferente que acredita.
Since 2007, the initiative has been growing, and every Easter Sunday morning, hundreds of motorcyclists gather in front of the church in Pero Pinheiro, a parish in the town of Sintra, to begin the procession towards the center. Those who participate promise to continue for many more years.
Enquanto eu puder e estamos cá. Esta é a nossa família no dia de Páscoa.
Pope Leo XIV stressed it was important that the Easter message of hope derived from Jesus' resurrection after being crucified reaches the oppressed during his Easter Monday blessing at the Vatican.
Penso ai popoli tormentati dalla guerra, ai cristiani perseguitati per la loro fede, ai bambini privati dell'istruzione. Annunciare in parole e opere la Pasqua di Cristo significa dare nuova voce alla speranza, altrimenti soffocata tra le mani dei violenti.
Pope Leo XIV also remembered his predecessor Pope Francis' profound witness of faith and love. Pope Francis died last year on Easter Monday on the 21st of April following a long illness.
Astronauts aboard NASA's Artemis II mission are now more than halfway to the moon and are preparing for their historic lunar fly-around to push deeper into space than even the Apollo astronauts. 3 Americans and 1 Canadian are set to reach their destination on Monday, where they will photograph the mysterious lunar farside as they travel past it. The mission, which lifted off on the 1st of April, is the first manned moon expedition in over 50 years, picking up where NASA's Apollo program left off. Artemis II is poised to set a new distance record for humans, traveling more than 405,000 kilometers from Earth before hanging a U-turn behind the moon and heading back home. It'll be done without stopping or entering lunar orbit and is set to marginally beat the current record set by the Apollo 13 crew.
It's just like we're a bunch of little kids up here, we cannot get enough of this. It's amazing.
The near 10-day mission will end with a Pacific splashdown on the 10th of April and is the first step in the U.S. agency's bold plans for a sustainable moon base.
就是它一是分拣的快，因为像处理的前端，它其中一个难点就是分选 sorting 是吧？然后原来都是用人工，可能几十个人来一天分拣1吨左右，但是现在这个机器的那个你们的分拣效率数量一天可能达到几吨这个样子。 大大的节省了人工成本，然后时间成本，然后因为人工它分拣它看的没有那么，可能涤纶80%、90%，可能人工分拣的也不是那么细，那机器它就很少会出错。
Essentially, AI sorting technology is helping us in an area of the supply chain which is super useful, but perhaps where the greatest problems don't lie. We still have huge problems with the actual reprocessing of mixed waste, so post-consumer waste textiles, to the extent that many facilities are now beginning to pull back on using post-consumer textiles because they are so complex. So it doesn't really matter what speed and quantity in some senses that they're getting, they're still contaminated and so complex in terms of the chemicals. So it's helping, but how much, we still don't know.